This is a Neapolitan pizza, but sourdough. Today, Anthony Silvio from Vannella Cheese is gonna show you how to make a sourdough Neapolitan pizza. Well, we're gonna make a diavola pizza today.
It's spicy with salami.
Beautiful.
And we've got beautiful smoky Scamorza cheese.
Guys, you don't wanna miss this. You wanna learn how to make this pizza because your life is about to change.
Oh yeah. Look how beautiful and airy this sourdough pizza base is.
Ooh, sourdough
Is the way to go. You'll need 340 grams of cool water, 100 grams of sourdough starter, and if you need to know how to make a sourdough starter, check out our video that we've done with Vincenzo's plate before. 550 grams of plain flour. You could also use 00 flour, but what's important is that you use any type of flour that has an average protein percentage of 11%, and 10 grams of sea salt.
The ingredients for the toppings are some mazzarella tomatoes, and crushed, extra virgin olive oil, grated pecorino cheese, fresh basil, spicy salami. This is homemade salami. I'm sure you can find spicy salami at the shop.
Yeah.
To stretch the Neapolitan pizza balls, we're gonna use super fine semolina. These will make the process a lot easier. The fresh cheeses we're using are smoked Scamorza from Vannella Cheese and Pizzarella from Vannella Cheese. Anthony, what are they? What are these two cheeses?
The Scamorza affumicata is a low moisture mozzarella, really, really delicious. And this one we actually cold smoke with beechwood. So we make the Scamorza and then we put it into a cold smoker and it gets this beautiful kind of smoky caramelized flavor.
Interesting, yeah. What about the Pizzarella?
The Pizzarella is also a slightly lower moisture mozzarella, fresh, made from cow's milk, and it's just gonna melt so beautifully.
So you don't get that liquid on the pizza, you don't get that water.
That's right, yeah.
Because you don't want that water, becomes, the acidity level go up, right?
Yeah,
When
too
you
much
have
water make your pizza sloppy.
Yeah.
First we need to start with the water. So we pop our cool water into the bowl. For the sourdough starter, if this is being kept in the fridge at home, make sure that you've taken it out and then it's been fed at 100% hydration. So there should be the same amount of flour and water in this bowl with your sourdough starter. Now let's pour 100 grams of starter into our water in the bowl. As you can see, our sourdough starter is kind of floating a little bit in the water, which is a telltale sign that it's beautifully gassy. And this is what we call ripe or mature in the sourdough world, telling you that it's basically ready to use in your recipe. Now that our starter is in the bowl, we're just going to take a utensil to start to stir this through. Finally, we can add our dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. So I'm going to add all of my flour into the bowl. And finally, the sea salt. Now we have all of the ingredients in the bowl. All that's left to do is stir all the dry ingredients through until everything is well and truly combined. All you're trying to do here is to incorporate all of that dry flour. By the end of this, you don't want to have any dry flour left. It has to all be hydrated. All right.
So Anthony, how come you're not kneading the dough with all your power, with all your energy?
Really don't need to with this recipe. It's actually really simple. What's going to happen is the dough is going to develop pretty much on its own as it sits in the bowl. We're going to give it some resting time. Yeah. And yeah, we really don't need to touch the dough much at all. That's the beauty of this recipe.
It's like a no-knead dough.
It kind of is. We're going to do some folding with the dough a little later on.
Right, okay.
But it's very easy, very simple.
That's it, it's done?
It's done for now.
Okay.
So once the dough has come together and there's no more dry bits of flour left over, all we need to do is bring it together into a kind of ball, place it into the bowl, and we're going to cover it with plastic wrap nice and tightly and leave it to rest at room temperature for half an hour. So the sourdough pizza dough has been resting now for half an hour at room temperature. Let's take a look. Looks great. So the dough is looking beautiful after its first half an hour of resting. And what happens is while the dough is resting, the flour is hydrating and the gluten, which is the protein in the flour, starts to form and develop. So as you can see, it's becoming beautifully elastic and stretchy. We've literally done nothing to it. Look at that. Beautiful. To further develop the dough now, we're going to perform some stretch and fold. So what we're going to do is grab some of the dough, pull it out, and then fold it over into the opposite direction. Now we'll do the front, pull it out, and fold it over. Now we'll do one of the sides, fold it over, and the final side now, and you can see it's becoming very tight. And just fold that over. So by folding the dough, you'll notice every time you do that, the dough becomes more elastic, more tight. So you're just helping to reinforce the structure of the dough and build the gluten. Okay, so now that we've folded the dough, we're going to shape it into a tight ball. So just kind of bringing it together into a nice tight ball, like this. So to continue shaping this ball of dough, we're just pressing our hand against the dough, down against the table to create some tension. And you can see we get this beautiful tight skin on the dough. And it doesn't take much at all to create a beautiful ball of dough. Do you like my ball?
I do like your ball. What I'm fascinated about, because you didn't use any oil, any water to do this. It was very easy to do it with dry hands.
Yeah, you can see my hands are fairly dry. The dough is not too sticky. And that's all because the flour is nicely hydrated. We've given it the rest.
Yes.
And when you start to build the structure, the dough becomes very strong and it's actually not very sticky at all to work with. Now that we have our beautiful ball of sourdough pizza dough, we just need to put it back into the bowl, cover it tightly, and allow it to rest for about 2 hours at room temperature. The dough has been fermenting at room temperature for 2 hours, and we can see that it's nice and shiny and silky, and it's actually grown a little bit in volume as well, which means it's time to now divide the dough so that we can ball it up into our pizza dough balls. So let's remove it from the bowl onto the bench. This is a kilo dough, which we're going to divide into 4 250 gram pieces using our scale. When you're scaling your dough, aim for 250 grams. If it's 5 grams or so, more or less, it's totally fine. But you want roughly 250 grams.
Now, Anthony, when I make pizza balls, I invest in this, $20, and I got this beautiful pizza tray.
Yes.
It's amazing, it works very well.
This is the ideal scenario. You want to have, if you want to have a professional pizza, then you use the proper
pizza tray, yes.
Yeah, the proper.
Or people can use a hairtight container. Each hairtight container.
A hairtight container or an airtight container?
Hairtight container for each pizza ball. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. To make the pizza balls, what we're going to do is just pick each piece up and fold it on itself a few times to make the skin nice and tight. And when it starts to come together, we just simply create the balls just like this. And you get a beautiful, tight dough ball. Now that we've got our beautiful ball, let's place that into the tray. There we go. Covering that now, because while we're working on our next dough ball, we want to make sure that the skin of that dough ball we just did is not drying out. Okay, it's very important. Now let's place the lid on top, and we won't see these again until tomorrow after a nice restful nap. These will need to stay in the fridge for a minimum of 12 hours, maximum 24 hours, and then we're going to make the most beautiful, bubbly sourdough pizza. It's day 2 and it's time to get baking, but before we do that, we need to take the dough balls out of the fridge about 2 hours before you're ready to cook. Okay, these are going to come out of the fridge quite cold, and then we need to let them slowly come to room temperature, and they will rise a little more slightly. Let's cut the cheese the Neapolitan way. So I'm going to cut into some strips actually, which we call listarelle. And that just ensures that you get beautiful coverage when it melts all over the pizza. So first cut into some slices, and then into these longer strips. As you can see, the Pizzarella cheese is a beautiful fresh mozzarella, but it's a bit lower in moisture, so it doesn't have much milk coming out of it. So we'll place these onto our plate, the beautiful listarelle, and we will continue to cut some more.
Now let's cut the salami for our pizza. Look at this beautiful homemade salami. Oh, look at that. Homemade is best, guys. Get the skin off. And I like to cut it not too thin. I know some people like it thin, but I like it thicker. First, because they reduce in size when you actually cook them. And if you make it too thin, then you don't feel it. I want to bite the salami. But this is my personal choice. Spicy.
Let's open the scamorza, guys. Wow. Look at this. You can smell the smokiness. It's actually very sweet, the smell. It's beautiful. You know how well this is going to pair with the salami? Really, really beautiful. All right. Now this cheese is much, much more firm. I'm going to cut this in the same way, and then when we do the pizza, we're going to mix half scamorza and half pizzarella. Let's make a pizza. We'll dust our dough ball with some of the semolina flour, and using a tool we're going to carefully remove the dough and flip it into the semolina. Now we coat each side with some of the semolina, and then using the flat parts of your fingers without touching the rim, the crust, we're just going to make some indentations around in a circle and then through the center to flatten it out, but also create a beautiful airy crust. Once you get to this stage, you can take it out of the semolina and put it onto your work surface, and you continue this flattening process even more. Now we can continue to stretch this beautiful pizza dough. Happy with that size? Beautiful. Yeah, we'll give it another stretch before it goes in the oven. So now we'll start with our San Marzano, beautiful crushed San Marzano. Gonna put a generous spoon in the center, and then gently work your way around. Leaving the crust, put some fresh basil. It smells incredible, this basil. Now we put the pizzarella. And you can see, because we cut them into listarelle style cut, it's going to spread beautifully on the pizza. Now we put our gorgeous scamorza affumicata to give the smoky flavor. Some pecorino, of course. And to finish, this beautiful spicy salami, as we like it hot. And finally, don't forget the extra virgin olive oil. When you're ready to place the pizza into the oven, just give it one last final stretch by hooking your fingers underneath and gently pulling it outwards. in all directions to achieve the final size of the pizza. And we're ready to bake. So now we will slide the pizza into the gosni. And let's watch this bubbly pizza cook to perfection. As it's cooking, I'm watching the side of the crust which is closest to the flame, because that's going to start to caramelize and brown first. So as we see that start to happen, we come underneath and just start to move the pizza, placing it always back in the same position. Watch that left-hand side again, closest to the flame. You can see it's starting to brown. And then we turn and back into the same position. One more turn. Check the bottom, that's nice.
Wow, Anthony. Look at this crust, listen. This is amazing, Anthony.
This is sourdough pizza.
I can't wait to have it. Wow. Come and have a look at the details of this pizza. The crust is incredible, cooked to perfection. Let's look at the bottom. Look at that, leopard crust. You know, honestly, this is great. Perfect leopard crust. Look at the cheese. It's not watery. The cheese cooked perfectly. I like the salami release the oil too from the salami. That's extra flavors, right? The basil is still fresh, like it hasn't been burned. Beautiful combination of flavors and the great colors. I think we need to eat it.
Beautiful and airy this sourdough pizza base is.
Fold it enough, Anthony, show us.
Let's have a look.
Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at the leopard crust on the side as well. Look at that. Look at that perfectly cooked pizza. Come on, Anthony. Oh, get in.
Let's try. Are you kidding me?
Beautiful dough. The salami really kicks in.
And the scamorza.
The scamorza,
Yeah.
the smoked scamorza is really, really powerful. It really takes over. The pizzarella is there. You know, it's good to be, hey, we're best friends.
Yeah,
but the
it's more
scamorza is
mild
like, hey,
flavour.
I'm stronger than you.
Yeah, it's got a real woody flavour about it. Yeah, you
I
can
think it
really
takes the
taste.
pizza to the next level.
Absolutely.
It's something I never experienced before.
And it goes beautifully with the salami.
If you're looking for something more unique and take your pizza to the next level, I think the smoked
Scamorza.
flavors, yeah, it's the way to go.
Can you believe this was cooked just in a gas oven?
No.
And you still get that beautiful charred flavour like you would in a traditional wood fire oven.
That's right. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. You ready, Anthony?
Let's do it.
Chin chin. Let's see
Chin
how
chin.
stringy the cheese is. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We will see you on the next Vincenzo's Plate video recipe. E ora si mangia.
Ciao.
Vincenzo's Plate.
Or Vannella's plate.
You're right. It's Vannella Cheese Plate today.